Hi everyone, I'm Colleen and I'm back for another live stream brought to you by the awesome people over at Princess Dental Staffing. So happy to see everyone on this Wednesday. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about 6 ways to stay on task at work. So are you one of those people who constantly feels, like overwhelmed, like your to-do list is just way too long and there are just not enough hours in a day? I'm guilty of that. Guys, I am definitely in that camp. I am definitely a member, certified member of that group, constantly feeling overwhelmed and like there's just too much to do and not enough hours to do it in. But today we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be sharing with you 6 ways to stay on task at work in order to help boost your productivity, so that you don't get caught in that cycle of catch up, right? That constant feeling of catch up and feeling overwhelmed. Okay. So that's what we're going to be helping you with today. Before we jump into that topic though, I just want to remind everyone that each week Princess Dental Staffing is bringing you a new live stream that covers topics about starting and or maintaining your career in the dental industry. So if you don't want to miss out on future streams, be sure to like our page or subscribe to our channel. If you like the information that we're bringing you and the topics and all the things we're discussing, be sure to drop us a like and comment below if you have any questions, thoughts, insights. And if we couldn't get to those questions when this stream was live, we'll definitely get to them as soon as possible afterwards. Okay. Now, if you want more information on the topics that we're bringing you, be sure to visit princessdentalstaffing.com. That's Princess Dental Staffing's website, where you can check out their blog and read through all the great information in the articles on that blog. Additionally, Princess Dental Staffing is an online dental job site. So while you're on princessdentalstaffing.com, you can start searching through jobs in your area as well, dental jobs in your area. And Princess Dental Staffing brings you full-time, part-time, temporary, and permanent roles for front office personnel, dental assistants, dental hygienists, and even dentists in a variety of fields. Also, while you're checking out available jobs in your area, it's also super easy to create a profile and get your information in front of dental hiring managers as well. So a lot that you can do on princessdentalstaffing.com. Be sure to check it out after this stream is over. Okay, so let's get into today's topic, 6 ways to stay on task at work. Here we go with number 1, make and follow your mental checklist. So it pays to, begin your day, not by jumping into the first task, but by creating that mental checklist and creating that mental list of things that you want to get done today, and kind of that mental schedule, right? Because some of your tasks are going to be, scheduled, right? They're going to happen at certain times in the day, okay? And it doesn't have to be too specific. It doesn't have to be too in-depth. You just kind of want to create a framework, okay? Just kind of a mental checklist to make sure that you know what has to get done today and you can prioritize what needs to get done, okay? So that you're not constantly missing those deadlines and feeling like you have to play catch up. Now, a few things to note with your mental checklist, a few things that you want to include. Make sure you include time for startup time, okay? So by startup time, I mean that time it takes to get fully invested into the task that you're doing, into the task at hand, okay? It's how much time it takes for an individual to feel comfortable and focused comfortably focused on the task once they've started it and once they've engaged in it. It takes a little bit of time to switch focus from task to task, okay? So make sure that you are, including time. So when you're estimating how much time it's going to take to complete a task, make sure you're including startup time, okay? And then, of course, startup time and switching from one task to another. Okay. Also include time for pop-up events. Okay. These are the inevitable events that are going to interrupt the task that you're on, the task that you're on. And these are going to be the events that inevitably find their way onto your to-do list, even though they definitely weren't on there an hour ago, right? They're definitely, very rarely do I ever get through an entire workday where I only take care of the things that were on my to-do list that I made first thing that morning. Okay. There are inevitably going to be other things that are going to find a way on your to-do list. There are inevitably going to be interruptions, people that need help, and reprioritization. So make sure that you include a little bit of time for those pop-up events as well. Okay. Can't agree more. Always seems like it always takes me a little to get in the groove. Yeah, absolutely, Drew. Yeah, absolutely. It always takes me a few minutes as well, to kind of plan out how I'm going to tackle a certain task or a project as well. So yeah, so make sure that you include a little bit of time, whether it be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or what have you, in order to kind of get invested in the task that you've selected to engage in. Okay. Number two, focus on one thing at a time, okay? So if at all possible, make sure you're focusing on one thing at a time. And it's been a little while since we've talked about this on a stream. I know we've talked previously, we've done previous streams on like multitasking versus focusing on one thing at a time. Where possible, it is always better to focus on one task at a time, because when you focus on one at a time, it means higher efficiency and it means higher quality of the product or service that you're providing. Additionally, it can also give you a continual sense of achievement. So when you're focused on one task at a time, you finish it quicker and more efficiently than if you're focused on multiple tasks at a time, which gives you that sense of accomplishment and really helps build your morale and motivation to continue to check those items off your mental to-do list, right? Now, depending on the situation, focusing on one task at a time is probably not optimal. So it's going to depend a lot on, on your employer or your leaders. Some tasks, you're going to want to focus more on quantity as opposed to quality, in which case it's okay to multitask those items or to get them done quickly. Additionally, there are going to be some tasks that only need to meet a certain level of quality, right? Like you don't have to go for 100% really. Sometimes it's okay at 80, right? So, when it comes to having a lot of items to do, sometimes, doing good enough is good enough, okay? So, certain situations, multitasking is totally an okay thing, but where at all possible, try to set aside time to focus on one task at a time, okay? Number three, keep everything organized. And we've done previous streams on organization as well, and the benefits of being organized. Organization is always key, both physically, right, like in your physical kind of workspace, and also in your mental workspace as well. Make sure everything has a place, and everything is in its place, whether that be, office tools on your desk, or files in your filing cabinet, documents on your desktop, on your laptop, instruments where they need to be, and all those different sorts of things. Make sure everything has a place and is in its place. And, taking a little bit of extra time, spending a little extra time, making sure that everything is organized means you have to spend less time later trying to find the one document, the one file, the one instrument that you need to find in order to get something done, okay? So spend a little bit more time now and you'll save a lot of time in the long run, okay? Additionally, organization also matters because it actually has a mental effect on you as well. It's widely argued that when you are surrounded by disorganization, when you're in a workspace that is completely disorganized, it actually leads to you feeling disorganized, even if you're not. And that can help, and that can make you feel really, really overwhelmed, okay? Even if really you're not really, you know what I'm saying? So, your workspace can actually have an effect on your mental processes as well, and your mental acuity. So that's another benefit of being organized, not only being able to find what you need to find when you need to find it, but also to kind of, again, build that morale and that motivation, and kind of subdue those feelings of feeling overwhelmed and disorganized as well. Number four, take small breaks, okay? It is incredibly unrealistic to expect yourself to go at 110% for anywhere from 7 to 9 hours a day. Okay. You're going to burn out, and you're going to burn out quickly. So attempting to kind of maintain that level throughout the day, it's going to, like I said, it's going to lead to burnout, and it's also going to eventually lead to a decrease in productivity and in the quality of your work products and services as well. Okay. So it's sort of like it's sort of like that crash. Eventually you're going to hit that crash, right? I don't know about you guys, but I definitely, that mid-afternoon crash, right around 2 o'clock. I don't know if you guys get that. I definitely suffer from that crash. Okay. And it's usually because I've been going too hard for too long, right? And not taking my breaks like I should, and not taking my lunch breaks, and making sure I'm taking care of myself, and, eating my lunch and getting a little activity and all those sorts of things, in order to maintain your own mental and physical health. Okay. So sometimes I get that crash too. And that's kind of how it is when you kind of push yourself. So make sure that you are taking your breaks throughout the day. And they can be small breaks. They don't have to be, 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour. It doesn't have to be that much. It can be as little as 2 to 5 minutes after about 4 or 5 tasks are completed. Okay? It could be as little as that. But when you're on these breaks, make sure that you're focused on decompressing and calming down and refocusing. Okay. Because if you take these breaks and you're doing other, like, mentally involved or mentally stimulating activities, it can, then it's kind of a moot point. It doesn't really help, right? Because you didn't really take a break. You just switched from one activity to another, and you're still using that mental brain power. Okay. So make sure when you take your breaks that you are taking your breaks, and that you are taking the time to kind of decompress and refocus. Okay. Because if you're not, that's just going to lead to faster burnout. Okay. Number 5, don't keep your personal phone in reach. Again, guilty of this one too. I always have my phone in reach. And, a lot of people don't realize it, but, every time your phone rings or makes a noise or vibrates or what have you, even having it on silent, it vibrates, right? I know mine does. And I just have to check it. I am so easily distracted by my phone. Oh no, it dinged. Oh, it wanted to tell me the weather today, or something like that. Oh, it's a text message. I'll get back to it later. And even though it only takes 2 seconds to pick up your phone and go, oh, okay, that's a text message, I'll get it later, it still takes time to get back into the task. You remember earlier when we talked about that startup time? That takes time as well. So think about it. You're taking, even just a few seconds to check your phone. You're also taking a few minutes to get back where you were mentally in the task that you were in before you were interrupted by your phone. Okay. And multiple times throughout the day, that really adds up. And that is a time suck. That is really taking away a lot of time that you could use to take a break or to devote to the task at hand. Okay. It really does add up a lot throughout the day. So, during your breaks, you can check your phone, but otherwise, recommend that you don't, because that time does add up, and it takes away from you accomplishing all the things on your mental checklist. Okay. Lastly, number 6, split up large tasks. So you've got a huge task, a very large task that you have to tackle. Make sure you break it up into smaller tasks. Okay. And that's kind of a mental thing as well. I've heard of and I can't remember the name of the technique, but it's basically breaking up your larger tasks into kind of baby steps. And what that does is it helps you feel, again, more accomplished, because, just seeing one large task can feel kind of daunting. And you're kind of, I know I usually do. I get tempted into, oh, that's a large task, I'm going to save it until the end of the day, right? And then it doesn't end up getting done. And then I miss my deadline, and it ends up being late and all of that, right? So, when it comes to your larger tasks, break them up into smaller pieces. And then when you check off those pieces, those smaller tasks as part of the larger task on your mental checklist, again, it builds your morale and makes you more motivated, because you're checking items off your to-do list, and and you're getting through that task. Okay. So for example, let's talk about talk about dishes. Okay. So if, you have a large task, you have a lot of dishes, right? How would you break that up? Well, first it might be, you might break it up into cleaning the dishes. It might be, the second one might be drying the dishes, and the third task might be putting the dishes away, right? So we've broken up this monumental task into three smaller parts, okay? And you get to check those items off each time you complete them. So it's a really great way to not only tackle those large tasks and have the motivation to tackle those large tasks, but also the motivation and the morale to continue throughout the rest of your day with all your other tasks and all those items that just need to get done. Having those little boosts from accomplishing something, even a couple steps, is always motivating. Yeah, absolutely, Drew. Hit the nail on the head, right? Just being able to check those things off. And I actually prefer, I don't prefer a mental checklist. Some people prefer that. I like one written down so that I can actually do the check and actually feel good about myself because I finished something. And it really does motivate you. It's a mental thing. It motivates you. Kind of keeps you, up and positive and continuing throughout all the things you got to get done for the rest of the day. So let's recap briefly, okay? So those are our 6 tips, but let's recap briefly. 1, make and follow your mental checklist. Again, I prefer a written down one, but some people prefer a mental one. But make sure that you make a checklist, okay? And make sure that you've got it organized wherever you have it organized, in your head or on the paper, okay? 2, focus on one thing at a time, if at all possible, okay? It does make you more productive. It does mean that the task gets done more quickly, and it does elevate the quality of the end quality of the product or service once you're finished with it, okay? So where you can, focus on one thing at a time. Number 3, keep everything organized. Again, it's more efficient and more effective to be able to know where everything is when you need it. But it also has an effect on your mental state as well. Being in a disorganized place makes you feel more overwhelmed, but being in an organized place makes you feel more productive, okay? Number 4, remember to take your small breaks, even if they're only 2 to 5 minutes, okay? Make sure you take your breaks, make sure you decompress, make sure you check out just for a few minutes so that you can refocus and feel refreshed when you return back to work and your tasks, okay, and your mental checklist. Number 5, don't keep your personal phone in reach. It is distracting, and it is it is distracting, and it is a huge time suck. Multiple times a day, checking your phone, even if it's only for a few seconds. Take some time, along with that startup time that we talked about, right? So, if you don't need your phone for your job, put it away, okay? Turn it off. I have to turn mine off so I don't hear it. And lastly, split up large tasks. So if you have a large task, break it down into smaller tasks on your to-do list. And when you start, moving through those tasks and checking them off your list, you're going to feel more motivated. You're going to be able to tackle a large task that felt very, very daunting at first. And it's going to help you feel, motivated and proud of yourself that you got through it. Okay. Alrighty, so those are our tips and tricks for you today on how to stay on task at work. So thanks for tuning in, everyone, and for the awesome comments and insights. And if you weren't here when the stream was live, I'm glad that you got to watch it later. We will be back next week, next Wednesday, with a new task about starting and maintaining your career in the dental industry. Okay, so thanks for being here with me today, everyone. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. I'll see you soon. Take care. Stay safe out there.